Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Tickets are selling fast for the Gift for the Children of Gaza fundraising dinner. This weekend's Tulip Festival aims to celebrate the city's stunning display of 40,000 tulips. And Central Bay Softball is holding a registration night tomorrow for local players interested in a new softball competition. Images of children injured during Israel's attacks on Gaza prompted local Palestinian Naba Mansour to try and raise funds to help relieve their suffering. So with the help of friends, a fundraising dinner called A Gift for the Children of Gaza was conceived.
Well, we watch the news like other people. We saw the children in Gaza, they are starving, no food. As we try to do small things to be support and to help them, that's all.
And I think also when we saw that the hospitals were being bombed and you see the little children, you see the mothers, and I think every mother and hopefully a lot of fathers can identify with that feeling of trying to protect your children and having injured children and not having the medicine or the ability to do anything. I think for a mother it's the worst fear in your life.
Absolutely.
It is really an opportunity for people in Rotorua just to sit together and enjoy each other's company and feel at the same time that they're contributing towards someone else's betterment. And the actual organisation Medical Aid for Palestinians, we chose that one because it's so well known in England and it's got a good record, so we didn't want the money to be wasted, and I know they'll use every cent towards helping children who are injured.
For more information on A Gift for the Children of Gaza, contact St Luke's Church office. Fine weather is forecast for this weekend's inaugural Tulip Festival, allowing locals and visitors the chance to get out and see some of the 40,000 tulips flowering in the city. Organiser Sabine Williamson says taking time out to just look and appreciate the flowers is a way of participating in the festival.
Well, we have a range of activities. First of all, we have talks at the Arts Village. We have Walter Miller, who's been quite famous, I think, in Rotorua, because he's been instrumental in the tulip planting for about 40 years. So he has talks, and then we have some other speakers there as well. Then we also have art installations. We have the Rotorua yarn bombers. They have made this fabulous piece of art, which is going up from the Westpac building. They also have something at the library and something at the Arts Village.
To find out more about what's happening on Friday and Saturday, contact the Arts Village. Smoke-free RockQuest Pacifica Beats finalists Open Arms are gearing up for their trip to the finals in Auckland on Friday night. The 9-piece band from Boys High have a reggae rock sound that judges say really connects with the audience.
This indescribable feeling that runs through my veins kinda hurts, but I like the pain. The pain, the pain, the pain, the pain.
Are you all excited about being finalists in the upcoming competition?
Of course. Yep.
And what song are you looking at playing?
We actually have 2 songs. So the song we just played and another original called Addiction that Tawhiri composed.
Band member Tawhiri Matia with Toko says they're heading to Auckland tomorrow and are excited to be performing in the finals. A look at the differences between life in Rotorua and Karen Alsop's former life in South Africa will be discussed at this month's Neighbour in Our Community presentation at the Arts Village. Mrs. Alsop says she has funny stories as well as more serious comparisons about life in the 2 countries.
Informing everybody about what is different between living in South Africa and living in New Zealand so they could start to understand where we might have some difficulties in fitting into New Zealand culture.
And are you excited about delivering your speech?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of questions are going to come up and what people are really interested to know about South Africans and whether people are interested to know about South Africans and how we kind of fit in.
In sport tonight, softball is making a welcome return to Rotorua this summer with the establishment of Central Bay Softball. This season, the code will be based at Puketewhero Park and will run at T-ball for children under 6, as well as junior and senior competitions. Rotorua District Councillor Charles Sturt, who heads the District Council's Sport and Recreation portfolio, says he is rapt to hear that softball will be returning to the district. A registration evening is to be held tomorrow night at Puketewhero Park with interested teams, players and supporters invited along. To your weather update now. Tonight will be fine with westerlies easing and an overnight low of 5. Tomorrow, Thursday, fine apart from evening cloud, westerlies, a high of 19 and a low of 7. And the outlook for Friday, cloudy periods, westerly breeze, a high of 17 and a low of 7. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, southwest 10 knots becoming westerly to 15 knots for a time in the afternoon, with waves less than half a metre and fine weather. Still to come in tonight's show, Melanie Grove spends time with Rotary District Governor Paul Wright, and we talk economic opportunity for Rotorua with District Councillor Rob Kent.
So what is Rotary? Here to answer that question is District Governor Paul Wright. Paul, can you educate us? What is Rotary?
Rotary is a global organisation with it's represented in 215 countries. It has in excess of 1.2 million members and about 35,350 clubs around the world. We in New Zealand just represent a very small part of that, and our main focus is Rotary in New Zealand and looking after our own communities, but we do play a major part in global humanitarian projects. Yeah.
So how was Rotary started?
Rotary was started in 1905 by 4 people who wanted to network, 4 professionals who just wanted to network, and they met after work. And the name Rotary came from when they started meeting. They'd meet at a different person's place each week, hence the name Rotary. And that's where it started off in 1905. Their first project was building a public toilet, and so it's just evolved from then, and it's just grown and to become the sort of well-respected global organisation that it is today.
So globally, what are some of those projects that Rotary is involved with, or what is their main project?
The main project, I think, that is represented worldwide is ending polio. In 1985, Rotary decided on a project that they were going to eradicate polio from the world by the year 2000. In 15 years they were going to do it. We haven't got there. It's now 2014, but there's just 3 more countries for it left to be done on now. And we expect in 2 years from now, we expect that we'll be down to just 1 country, which is Pakistan, and that's going to be our biggest challenge. But end polio is the biggest project that we've got.
How many clubs are there in New Zealand?
To be honest, I'm not too sure how many clubs there are in New Zealand, but there's around about 9,300 members in New Zealand. In the district that I represent, which is District 9930, which goes in the north from Thames and down to the south to Waipukurau, and goes coast to coast. And in there we have 56 clubs, which represents about 1,760 members at the moment. And but we do have 6 districts in New Zealand, and they're all got roughly a similar size.
And so here in New Zealand, what are some of the main projects that we get involved in, both locally and nationally?
Locally, I think most of the clubs do focus very strongly on their own communities, whatever is required in the communities. Youth is always a very good one, supporting youth, whether it's Rotary Youth Leadership Awards or Rotary Youth Enrichment Programs, all geared at youth of different levels of achievement and so on. We sponsor quite a few to go through to universities or Polytech or other tertiary organisations. Driving, defensive driving classes for youth. So youth is is one that it's not always just geared to the troubled youth. We do sponsor children right through to very good academic ones, and so on, right through. The other one is in the communities. We look after our elderly. We do projects around various towns. I think you can drive around many towns around New Zealand, certainly in our district, and you'll see in parks or whatever, there'll be projects there, things that have been identified with Rotary. One of the big ones we have in our district, which is down in Napier, they have something in excess of 70 kilometres of walking tracks down there that have been developed mainly by Rotary, and it's really got people out of their homes, riding bikes, pushing pushchairs, whatever. And they've got all around Napier and Hawke's Bay, and they've got these 70 kilometres of tracks, and so a very good Rotary project. But yeah, you think of it, and Rotary will do it, and we're only limited by our imagination.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Right. Well, we're just going to cut there for a second because Paul has so much to talk about. We'll be back after the break. So we're back with Paul Wright, District Governor for 9930. Paul, what organisations have Rotary been behind fostering or supporting starting?
Yeah, Rotary's been the driving force behind organisations such as the setting up of Karatani hospitals, the Milton schools the first time around when I was a young fella at school. There's Plunkett, defensive driving courses, riding for disabled, many organisations like that. And Rotary is often people or an organisation that comes along with a great idea and don't have the ability to network and get things off the ground around the country, will approach an organisation like Rotary, and whereas we've got 6 districts and somewhere between around about 250 plus clubs around New Zealand, as I said earlier, about 9,200 members, by getting Rotary on board, they can quickly get themselves established. And Rotary, as I said, those organisations is behind setting them up, and then once they're up and running, Rotary will sort of move on to another project. We don't like to be linked and bound to just supporting one organisation. We'll help them get established, let them run themselves, and we'll move on and help another organisation.
So in order to do that, obviously you need members.
Yes.
Why do people join Rotary?
I think a lot of it is the feel-good factor. Those people who do join it, first of all, they have to be asked. And I think that's one of the things we're trying to say in our organisations, is we say, why did I join Rotary? I joined because I was asked. So why don't we get out and ask other people? And membership, we're always constantly looking for new members. And so, it is. We just need to get out there and encourage people to join. But it really is, it's good people doing good things. And if we can get that out there, and we want to make people aware of the organisation so that they can have a look at that and think, I want to be part of that. You know, that's a good organisation. We have high ethical standards, and that's why they want to get involved. And the payback is actually achieving all of these good things, not only in your own community, but globally as well.
So what convinces a person to stay?
Well, I think that's the challenge, is to continually be looking for good projects, because people want a cause. It's not all about just fellowship. Fellowship is important, but it's not about just meeting weekly and having dinner or breakfast or whatever time your meeting meets. It's about having a worthwhile cause. And most clubs, most of the healthy clubs, are the ones that have got a very good project where they can all tuck in and there's that sense of achievement at the end of it, job well done. And so, yeah, so it's constantly looking for a cause rather than just meeting. The meeting, people will get bored and they will move on to something else.
When it comes to Rotary in the public point of view, it may be seen as a bit of an older gentleman's club. How do you curb that?
It is always a challenge, and I think what we have to do is, one of the things in Rotary is that we do have organisations that hopefully will lead people into that. Within our schools we have what we call interact clubs, and that's where we start clubs generally in high schools, where students can get a feel of an organisation like Rotary. They leave school and then there's another organisation between Interact and Rotary, which is called Rotaract. And that's where hopefully they'll leave school and move into an Interact club. And then when they feel the time is right, they can then move on to onto Rotary. And that's why we're starting in the schools, is so that we're trying to get people interested in moving through, and it becomes part of them. They will, a lot of them in Interacts will start off by just raising funds for a shelter box, but they feel good about that. It's gone to a disaster area around the world. They know where that has gone, and they think that's good. And so it's just step by step, and hopefully we can just retain them in the organisation that way.
So for those who may be interested in Rotary, how many clubs do we have here in Rotorua?
We have 5 Rotary clubs in Rotorua, 1 Rotaract club and 5 Interact clubs. So Rotorua is probably one of the better placed towns in our district, in District 9930. We've got very good coverage. So yeah, and we have something like around about 200 members in Rotarians in Rotorua.
You did say that in order to be a part of the club that you needed to be invited, but what if people out there were interested? How did they get involved or find out more information about it?
You can, best place I guess is if you Google it. If you Google and you would find all of the clubs. You put in Rotary and just Rotary, Rotorua, and then the 5 clubs in Rotorua will come up. The numbers are there to contact them. Failing that, look me up in the phone book and I'll put you right. But yeah, it's a well-known organisation. It's very easy to find details of clubs anywhere in New Zealand, anywhere in the world for that matter. So, yep.
Well, thank you so very much, Paul, for your time, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you.
You're welcome.
With all the growth that has been happening in our city, what has been happening with our economical portfolio? We're here at the Rotorua District Council to speak with Rob Kent, who is the District Councillor who holds that portfolio. Rob, you've got the economic portfolio for our council. Yep. However, how did you get this role? What is your background?
Well, basically, I got involved with the economic portfolio because of my business background. For best part of 40 odd years I've been in business internationally, both in my own businesses and advising other people. My main history is in design, developing software for retail operations, okay, and looking at efficiency of businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely got that business background. So can we have an update at the moment on the economic portfolio for Rotorua?
Okay. The economic portfolio is really just starting to gain momentum and starting to get underway. Obviously, with the reshuffle that we had in terms of realignment of council, in terms of the 2030 vision, the reduction in staffing numbers and so on, it's been a little bit slow to get the economic portfolio moving. We are now at the process where we're starting to get serious, and we're looking to see where we should be going and what should be happening around the place.
So where should we be going? Do you have any ideas at this point in time?
Ever since I ran for election, I've always said that Rotorua has got so much untapped potential. Really, we've got to start looking at this from the proper picture, which is from outside, looking at what the full potential of the place actually is, instead of the very introverted look at things that's been happening in Rotorua for many years. There is so much potential here going to waste. It's a question of how we capitalise on that and how we actually get that momentum going, get the investment coming in from outside to really make things happen.
So is that communicating with the outside cities to see what they think and where they believe our potential is? How do we get that view?
I think this is more a case of actually being able to sell Rotorua's capabilities to investors coming in from outside of the city. Okay, we've got a lot of investment money that's sat waiting to see what's happening in Rotorua, but we need to start attracting some big business to Rotorua, some big business potential to Rotorua, with some new ideas, some different ways of thinking, and really putting Rotorua back on the map.
In particular, Auckland?
Well, Auckland's really the powerhouse for New Zealand, so that's got to be the first place we've got to go and look.
And would that be bringing some of the businesses that are currently in Auckland here to Rotorua?
Well, I often, when I go up to Auckland, you see billboards around the place telling Aucklanders that they should be moving to Tauranga and so on. Why not Rotorua? We've got a lot more going for us than Tauranga.
And what's the partnership with Grow Rotorua at this point in time?
Okay. Grow Rotorua, as we know, was set up to start looking at the opportunities around Rotorua. It's been going now for the best part of 2 years. Francis Powles, who's the head of Grow Rotorua, in fact will be coming into under the auspices of Council with the economic development portfolio, so there's going to be a lot closer relationship between Grow Rotorua and the economic portfolio. That, I think, is the only way we can actually run things properly, because otherwise we'd be duplicating effort. So there's going to be some clarification of the roles and looking, certainly, I would think, at the future of Grow Rotorua as well, and how that actually operates with Council.
So really it's about working together as opposed to working two separate entities?
Well, there's no point in having two different groups of people trying to do the same thing and basically not talking.
So what is famously Rotorua? What is that campaign?
Okay, that is the advertising campaign that was started and has gained quite a lot of momentum. It's started by, I believe, Destination Rotorua Marketing, which obviously is a council organisation, with a view to start attracting people to Rotorua and making them wake up to what we've got happening in Rotorua. Its aim, or its stated aim, was to try and get people from Auckland down to Rotorua. Whether it's actually achieving that, I don't know. I see different figures every time I look at them. Sometimes they look as if, yes, things are happening, and the next time I look at the figures, and to me it looks as if they're no different to the growth in tourism and everything else that's happening everywhere else in the country. So we've got to look at these things pretty carefully and look at the future direction and see what's the best way of getting this place up and going.
And so what is our draw card? What is it that's going to attract these people here at the end of the day?
Take a look around you. We've got amazing scenery. We've got a lifestyle which really can't be matched anywhere in New Zealand. We have got a workforce that's begging for work. And we've got cost of housing is cheaper here than most places. You can even stay in hotels here cheaper than most places. So there's a lot of possibilities. It's just how we actually capitalise on those and get things going.
All right, Rob, so thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.
That was District Councillor Rob Cantor talking to Melanie Groves. If you'd like to contact us, give us a call on 3488 984, or you can email news@tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for watching tonight. From all the team here at City News, for Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.